Oh, gotcha.
Hell yeah, we're on, my friend.
Sweet.
Welcome to our Quebec radio show, Prescription Punk Rock. It's such an honor to have you today. I'm going to introduce yourself. Who the hell are you?
I'm Sam Williams. I play guitar in Down by Law. I've been in Down by Law since 1993. I play guitar in a lot of different bands, but that's definitely the longest running and the one that's the most well known, I think, you know.
You've been involved in a lot of projects. Everyone are really interesting. But first of all, let's talk about the new album. It's crazy after all those years to see you guys still releasing new stuff. I know for you it was a long period for writing that records and creating that records, but it kind of fell out of the blue for us. But first of all, how was the making of the records?
Well, you know, we've been pretty consistently busy with this label, Kung Fu Cleopatra Records. It's the same label. You know, we've started with them with All In 2018, I believe, was our first record with them, and it just kind of keeps going. And it's like, what do you guys want to do this year? You know, what do you want to do this year? And so we did all in. Then we did the studio live in the studio album, the Quick Hits thing, and then it was like, hey, you want to do another record? It's like, yeah, sure. So you know, it just kind of went like the other ones, but a lot of it's done remotely. I mean, we've been doing this kind of recording for years, where I write the music to a demo and I send it to Dave where he's at, which is several states away, and then he writes the lyrics, and then we record some here and record some there, and it's kind of just, and then we have it mixed by our friend Matt, and he's in the UK, so you know that's kind of our process for the last several records, and we just kind of do the same process as usual. Although you know records shape up differently on their own, you know, so it ended up being a different sounding record in my opinion than the last few, I guess, you know.
Yeah, and it's cool because it really create a dynamic in the band, which is cool live because you have so much stuff to, the catalog is so big that you can balance a show by playing, every era done by a lot of new stuff, the last records. And since it's pretty different, it brings something really original. And that's what I saw when you guys came in Quebec. And I like it
Mm.
because every records you push yourself in a new direction. But this time, there's a lot of, there's some of 80s stuff, I think, involved. Maybe the melody, the way you play guitar. But it really worked well. It's a really good record.
Thank you. Yeah, I could, like I say, I think it does delve back into the more traditional sounds in some aspects. I mean, it's really you never really want to just repeat yourself. At least I don't. And then but yeah, there's no doubt that there's something from this record that's got bits from our past, and it more so than the last few records. I kind of felt that way about Champions at Heart too when it came out. I think this one is better though. We kind of did that a little bit with Champions at Heart. I thought we kind of went back a little bit with the sound, but I think I just think this one came out better. The songs are better. It's more consistent. The production is better, and there's a lot of the backup harmonies are different. The guitar tone is different, you know. So, but I can't imagine a Down by Law fan having a complaint with this one, because it's so Down by Law sounding to me, even though it's different.
Is it more hard now to write the records than back in the days because you have more experience? Maybe it's more easy, or it may be both.
I think uh, I think it is both, maybe. In some regards, it's harder because I don't want to repeat myself so much. Like there are some bands that I listen to, kind of some of our peers, I guess, and I hear the same chord changes. I hear the same chord voicings that I heard back in 1993 or 94. That's just not where I want to be. So, to get to a point where you can bust out of that box a little bit is difficult. You know, you really have to. At least for me, I had to. A lot of guitar study actually has been a part of my agenda for the last at least decade. I really wanted to get better at playing guitar. So that opens up a whole new world when you learn different things from that, you know, and then you get to apply it to the Down by Law thing. So I learned, I'm not like a jazz guitar player, but I know I've delved into the jazz thing a little bit. And you can't just go back to a band like Down by Law and turn it into a jazz band. but but there are things that, you know, if you're very careful, that you can take from a different genre or a different area and bring it into the framework that's already there, and then it's something new, you know. So it made it easier to bust, you know, once you learn these things, it just gives you more colors to paint with, I guess, is the idea. And so that makes it a little easier, you know, because if you don't have that, then you just keep finding yourself repeating these same chord changes and same tempos. But if you expose yourself to other kinds of music, I think you get more ideas, and it makes it easier. So the process to getting there is more work, but once you get there, I think it makes um, doing different things easier. You know, it's a bit hard to explain, but yeah, as you said, it's both harder and easier. When I first started writing it, I didn't know where it was going to go. I think that maybe the first song I put down was Heroes and Zeros, and the second one, I don't remember, maybe it was Anthem or something, you know, and those just kind of came to me. And then once once you get maybe two or three songs down, then you start to sense the uh, theme of the record, the underlying theme, or kind of, you know, subconsciously kind of guides you where you're going to go with the next song. So, you know, once you get past those first couple hurdles, it starts going a little faster. For me, it did anyway. So that was something that was not too hard. You know, I've been in Down by Law for so long that I feel like I know the band so well. It doesn't. I can't say that it's hard, but there are times when you hit writer's block or something, or I deal with a song for days and days and days, and I can't figure out where the next part should go or something. So I do work really hard at it. But it doesn't feel like work, you know, because it's something I love. So.
And that's the thing I love about the band, you, Dave. You know, you always been, you know, all about working harder, you know, pushing yourself, you know, and
Yeah.
fans know that, and that's what I love about the fans. They're so intelligent people. Mostly of them, they're clean people. They're intelligent, and you know what you throw to them is what, you know, you're gonna get, you know, out there. When you start up a fucked up band, you know, you get fucked up people. But I think in case of Down by Law, people realize it's our music to play, and I know you push yourself, but I think that the
Yeah.
band that are really defining a generation, and you know, that people will remember forever, are the band that are challenging themselves, and not reproducing every time the same thing, you know. And as you mentioned, you know, from jazz, from reggae, from whatever, there's always something that, you know, you can make a connection with what you're playing, you know, mostly, and, you know, bring some elements in your own way. So I think it's what, you know, get me excited every time you guys release the records, because I don't know how it's gonna sound. I don't know what's the direction of it. You have to listen the whole thing, and it's a kind of adventure, and I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, you're right about the fans for Down by Law, no doubt. It is. I think people who have stuck with us this long are in the same boat with us, you know, to some degree, you know. And it's weird, you know, when I say bring jazz and stuff like that into it, you know, people might get the wrong idea if they don't actually hear it. It's very subtle, you know what I mean by that. And we're not trying to be like a prog punk, you know, totally nuts. It's still, the songs are very melodic. They're not. Some of them are very tricky to play, but they're not super super complex. It's not like Dream Theater or something like that. But yeah, that's actually that's probably the most difficult thing is to try to use some of these things that aren't something you'd hear in this genre all the time, and bring them into this frame, but um, not make it too out there. Still make it catchy. Still make it easy to listen to. Sing along with, whatever. So so that actually is probably the most difficult thing. Not to get too far out. Dial it back in when you have to. Don't overthink things too much, but overthink, think about them plenty, So it's a fine line, and that would probably be, I'd say, the hardest thing about doing a new Down by Law record these days, because these days we push ourselves more than we ever did musically. Because I was just saying to someone the other day, when you get to this stage, you don't know when your last record is gonna. Any record could be your last record, So to me, it's like you're not just cruising along, putting something out so that you can tour and keep your cycle going. I'm really trying to think about the future, and what's going to be here after we're done. I want it to be really solid stuff, and and so yeah, we press ourselves pretty hard these days on the music side of things.
Imagine back in the days, when like the 90s punk rock started up and everybody was rushing themselves to release something in a weekend, and then now they're, oh, I hate that record. It's such a bad record.
Yeah.
Like, man, why did you release it
Yeah.
back in the days? You should have waited, but things
Right.
were so fast, And now, a lot
Yeah.
of them realize that. Take your time and release something that you're proud. Because, like you said, if you want it to stick for a long time, you have to be proud of it. And, people are looking to listening to that kind of great music. And it takes time to create that. It's not, but now we have the technology, to do it, at your, when you want to do it, not rush yourself. We have to studio times when we need to enter the studio and get out of the studio that day and release it that day. Things are so different now than maybe in the 90s, where when you guys have to rush yourself to release something. Down by Law, you just released a cover song which is a hit, so you have to release another record quick.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The technology has really changed the whole scenario for sure. And I feel like a lot of bands maybe don't make use of technology in that way. To a lot of bands, especially probably younger bands, this kind of thing with, you have home studios that sound as good as massive studios back in the day that we paid thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for. So um, I think a lot of bands take that as they use the other side of it, where it's, you can edit a lot of things, you can sample things, you can make records quickly in that way. But to me, it's more of a what I think of it more as, we're not paying tens of thousands of dollars. We're not paying like $500 an hour like we did back then. So you can use your time more wisely. You can take a break. You can write something and record it, and if it sounds bad, you can throw it in the trash can, and just keep editing that way. It's almost like writing a book or something. You can just really take your time and schedule everything to your own needs. Like you don't, you can just do it a couple hours after work here and there, or schedule it on a weekend. It's to me, that's the really great thing about the digital recording revolution, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we just need to make a good use of the technology out there, and maybe not doing what pop's doing right now, and use it too much, and it kill the magic thing of playing. But Yeah, and you know, it's like you said, it's out there, and you know, it costs really less money and everything, and that's the thing. There's not much money out there anymore, so you know, at the end, it's not about them losing money. You know, it have at some point to be wealthy. You know, even when you tour, and it's the tough thing now. You know, there's so much banned
Yeah.
because of that, I think.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. There's it's tough to make money with a band for sure. But yeah, like you said, you know, there's pop bands. Obviously, they've always overdone it with the technology side of stuff. I mean, to record everything exactly as we did back in the day. I still use a mic drum set. I don't use like a sample thing. I don't edit that much. You know, I do it the exact same way we always did, but it's just it's more efficient with the money, and and because of that, you have all the time in the world. You know, I mean, you can take too long. You know, I think you could probably get in that maybe and just go on forever and ever. I've had that where people record and they're just never happy with their, you know, let's just keep doing it and keep doing it and you know, there comes a point where you have to, you know, stop yourself, you know, or you know, just you're going overboard and but as far as creating the music, I mean, you can take a year, you know. When back in the day, who would take a year in the studio like Judas Priest or Metallica because it was that expensive, you know? But now everyone owns studios, so you can take a year if you want and make like the perfect record, make the best record you can anyway, you know.
Yeah, I remember Some Kind of Monster. It take like forever, and you're like, "What?" Or Chinese Democracy. You're like, "What the hell?" Yeah, at some point you have to release
Yeah,
something. You know? Just like get it on and do another thing. That's what life's all about. Not trying to do the perfect thing. Because nothing is perfect.
there's nothing is perfect, and it's also like any other kind of thing. You have to self motivate yourself, you know. You have to, you know, because it's work just like anything else to sit in front of a computer and do something over and over again. So you really have to, and you know, back in the day, it was no self motivation. It was like you have, you know, 5 hours to do all your parts, and that's all we can afford. So you really had to do it. Now you could get caught in the trap where do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. You know, I'll do it tomorrow. And just keep procrastinating because you can afford to. So you do have to self motivate yourself for sure. You know, to get things done. And I know my band gets annoyed with me because I'm really into these deadlines. You know, like did you get this part done yet? Did you get done yet? And no, and I'm like you know. And they're like, "Why are you worried about it? You know, it's not, you know." You know, I probably get a little too hard about that sometimes, but I do like to stick to schedules because when it comes to music, we're all pretty motivated, and we have to set our own guideline. You know, when you're your own boss at that point, basically, you have to keep the train going. You know.
And it's cool to see that you guys, after all those years, are still motivating. It's crazy when I think how tough it can be to tour. With a van and everything. It's like back in the days. Nothing have really changed. There's not much big van and everything like big bands. So when you are near your 50s, you're like, man, those guys are still doing it. It's crazy, man.
I know, I know. I don't. It is crazy. Sometimes it feels like really crazy, but it's like you know, that's one thing I'll say about Down by Law is we're kind of always the underdogs a little bit from our peers, and I think that the fact that we are still doing it says something about us. I don't know that every band, um, if they were in our position of how hard it is and how hard we tour and stuff like that, I don't know that they would still do it. You know, I can't say for sure. I know some probably wouldn't if they weren't. Uh, if their circumstances were the same down by laws, I'll bet you'd see a lot of bands from that era drop off and never do it again. You know, so we keep doing it. I don't know why we keep doing it because you know, the the recording side of it is difficult enough. That's plenty of work, but it's so rewarding. You know, to get this thing out and. I've listened to this record probably more than I've listened to any other record that I've been on, as far as Down by Law especially, and I really love it, you know. So, and it's going to be there forever. So, it's easy to work harder for something like that. It's harder to get in a van and sweat it out on the road, like you say, in our 50s or coming up on our 50s. I'm 46 now, and you know, have a tire blowout and have a show cancel, and you know, all these things. It's really tough, and we don't have big managers, we don't have big road crews, we don't have big tour buses. So that end of it, we just do it. It's rewarding also in its own way, but it's harder to get motivated for that. But in the end, once we do it, I'm always glad that we have done it, and I figure might as well do it as long as we can. You know, nobody will be able to do anything forever, so you might as well get it all in while you can. You know.
No, and I think with the pandemic, a lot of people realize maybe that we were complaining a lot about small thing that you don't have to complain about. I think when shows gonna start back, there's gonna be more people than ever. Even people that were not at shows, before that just want to have a good time, be with their friends, listen to music, and I think it's gonna be beautiful, and that's where it's gonna pay off for you guys. After all these hard years, if we can say, I think there's gonna be a huge buzz around music and event and everything, and it's a cool
Yeah.
thing. Sure, you saw that a lot of people were spending a lot of money in tickets, and now that there's no show, they're spending a lot of money in merch, which is fucking good.
Yeah. 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 No, I agree. That is one good thing about this is that I think people maybe take music for granted just a little less, you know, because they really took it for granted on all fronts. You know, it's always been so difficult for musicians, especially since the streaming thing took hold. You know, everyone just it really hit musicians really hard. You know, so then all you really have left is in order to make any kind of uh, you know, ends meet is live shows and touring. So once those, you know, people, you know, they, like I said, they really took that stuff for granted, and being able to buy a shirt whenever they want, or being able to see a band anytime they want. So you know, maybe this kind of made people remember a little bit, you know, that music is just such an important thing for everybody. It seems like everyone. I don't know anybody who doesn't at least like music to some degree, but I'm sure they're out there. But um, so yeah, so I think maybe people remember that a little bit now. You know, that it's been kind of uh, put on hold for a year now. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And I think people are way more aware of what's happening around them. We were living,
Yeah.
most of us, like 400 miles an hour, and now everything just stopped and everything are more slow. So people are more aware of their local scene, maybe the new albums, release and everything. So it's cool. There's way more streaming and everything. So if people
Mm.
understand that when it's gonna get back, go see the band, buy merch, shirts, CDs, vinyl, whatever, cassette. I know there's a lot out there too. It's cool. That's the way we're gonna save music and help Down Baila get back to Quebec, because there's a huge love affair between Quebec and you guys since the beginning.
Yeah. No, I thought we did that tour, the one that I got last. That was a fun one, man. That was so cool because uh, I just love those venues. I don't know, you guys. You know, I come from hot Florida. It's always hot here, you know, and it was really cold up there, and it was snowing, but it was just something that was so cozy about it. I don't know. The whole string of shows. We were with our buddies off by an inch, and they kind of took us around and went with us, and it was, man, that was a really fun one. It wasn't too stressful, and it was. I just loved all the venues. They really stick out in my mind. The one that you and I saw each other at was really cool, and uh, Yeah, I don't know. There was something about that, and I've always loved Canada. Canada has always been a good place for us, always. And well, that's good because Canada's a cool place. So
I think in Quebec we have a scene for Montreal has a scene back in the days, but in Quebec City we have a strong scene right now, going on for the last almost 10 years. So I think that
mm,
the good people involved in bookings, there's a lot of great people involved in booking and helping the band and everything. So it's like you said, it's there's no stress, and and that's the way it had to be, and I love it, but it was not like that all the time, but it's a very well professional scene, if I can say that, a professional punk rock scene.
but that is a great thing, though. What you're saying, I mean, that's a big, big deal. If only the punk network or whatever bands play that that's for it to work. It has to be like that. It has to be people that take it seriously, putting on the shows, and basically, even if they don't make their money from it, they should still be professional about it, And yeah, that is something that stuck out about that string of shows was that everybody was like that, I've done shows before where we fly out, everybody spends a ton of money to fly out somewhere, and the band fronts all this out of our pockets, and we don't have any money. We're not, and with an agreement with a couple promoters, and when we get there, if things don't work out great, they just say, "Dude, it's punk. What do you want? I can't pay. We can't do what we agreed to do. Come on, we're punk bros. That's just so frustrating and annoying. So you get a few of those, and it just makes you want to quit everything. So it's good that it's good when people take stuff seriously, no matter what you're going to do. Even if it's a hobby or you're just doing it out of love, you should do it, seriously, because there are a lot of people involved. It's not just you making a painting or something. It's, a lot of other people. So, yeah, that was a really good thing about that was, and about those shows was everybody was professional and everything was good, like it was supposed to be. And yeah, it was great. That's another thing that sticks out.
Yeah, and shitty promoter out there. I don't know if you guys saw the singer of Green Jelly. It happened to him. I think it was a year and a half before everything fell down. He got ripped up at the show. The promoters just run away with the cash and everything. He went back because he had something with his family, but he went back to Toronto. He took two flights, spent a lot of money to get the guy back, and he filmed everything. And the video went viral, and yelling at him, "Where's my money? Where's my fucking money?" And I think at the end he got the money. If not, the guy's his life is ruined. you know, know that we're in 2021. If you think you can rip people's off and nothing's gonna happen, you dream, man. People are all there with cameras and everything. So I think a lot of people know that, and it's we're not back in the days. It's not the first wave of punk rock where everything was building itself, and when you start it up, there's some chaos. We're the scene is structure, and people know that there's a lot of respect involved in punk. So it have to be on two camps.
Yeah, that's great. I love that story because yeah, that makes me think of we were on a tour one time and it was so difficult. It was one of the hardest ones we've done. And let's see, we played one show and we got ripped off, and that was annoying enough. And then we got to the next show and it was a big festival with a bunch of bands like DRI and Slapshot, and it was a huge festival. And um, I was so burned from being ripped off the night before. Um, we made sure that the guy had what he owed everyone before we played, and he showed everybody. It's like, yeah, everything's taken care of, and he took off before the bands finished playing, and he just skipped town and didn't pay one single band. He didn't. No one got paid, and yeah, that just happens all the time. It's so annoying. It's It's like, why do it? Like you can never, now you can never put another show on. Everyone knows who you are, and and I think I remember the guys in Slapshot saying they were going to find the guy or something. Who knows? It was in Boston. So, but
You
yeah,
don't that you don't want those guys after you. No way.
yeah. I don't want to be chased by Slapshot for sure. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah. And unfortunately, most of the people involved now are people like us. We're at our 40s and everything is different now. We have kids and everything, and people realize you have to. You need food on the table. It's after all, everybody's working there. So yeah, I hope it will never happen to Down by Law again. After that interview, everybody be aware. So, do you remember the first time you came to Quebec City with Down by Law when you joined?
Okay. Okay, I see you better now. What were you saying? Do I remember the first time what?
The first time you came to Quebec in Canada with Down by Law.
Man, I don't remember the first time. I think it would probably, I'm trying to think. My very first tour was we opened for All, but I can't remember if we played Canada then with them. It might have been after that.
It was Cut singing in All at that time because they've just.
Oh, well, when I toured with them, it was Chad.
Okay, Chad was there.
It was his first tour as well. It was the Breaking Things album for them. And gosh, I can't remember if we went to Canada. It was a long one. I mean, it was like 6 or 9 weeks, but maybe we went then with them. It's hard to remember. We ended up playing there a ton. I mean, I remember. Was that where Snow Jam used to be?
Yes.
Was that? I remember that show. That wasn't my first time, but I remember those well. And man, those were so fun. That was amazing. We played with like Snapcase, I think, one time there, and
I've got
really
the pictures somewhere in a box here. Still got that pictures. Yeah.
Oh, that was an amazing, amazing show. That was so fun, and we got to stay in like the little, like the little hotel area there. That was so nice, and it was snowing. And then the next day we were out trying to snowboard, and none of us could even stand up for 2 seconds, and it was fun. Yeah, and let's see who else was there. It was like gosh, I don't remember. There was some Fat Records bands there, but I don't, maybe Good Riddance. I can't remember. But yeah, that was so cool. But no, I can't remember the very first time. I have such a bad memory, but yeah, I'm not sure.
I know when you did the Rockfest, it was after a long period of not being in Canada.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. That was great. That was our friend who got us on there was John Kastner, from the Doughboys. He ended up being one of the booking agents that contributed to that lineup, and he got us on. That was excellent. That was so fun, and I think we played a few shows around it too. I can't remember. Maybe it was just that one show, but that was really fun. Yeah. Remember we played with, I think, Living End. I think, did they play Living End, the Australian band? I think it was them. They were great.
Yes,
guitar player was really, really good. I remember that. But yeah, that was fun. That was a great show too. Yeah, no doubt.
So, with the release of the new album, I know you guys are nonstop machine. Are you working already on new stuff? Since for you it's kind of an old record since you start working on it like almost 2 years ago.
No, yeah, no, we haven't started working on a new one yet. I've been busy with my other band, uh, Black Valley Moon. We're working on our record right now, and so that's taking up a ton of my time. And Dave is just kind of hanging out. He did like two records really close to each other because he did the Don't Sleep album right before this. So he's kind of taking a little breather too, I think. And no, I'm just kind of, I'm glad it's out finally. Um, if we did anything soon, I would see it would probably be an EP or a compilation song or something. Um, I could see us doing that in the not too far future, but another record would probably be, about a year or so before we think about that. I would like to be able to play out some for this album, so. But you never know. I might start writing some songs here and there for it. After the Black Valley Moon stuff is done. Who knows? I never stop writing. I'm always doing that. So that's about it.
It's cool. It's in your blood. And like I said, it's really inspiring to see you like keep going and everything. But yeah, can't wait to hear the new stuff with the other bands. And actually, when it's done, just hit me up. We're gonna play it on the show. I like it. It's pretty different, and we're all about originality, and that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I love about your project. They're original, different, because I'm
Yeah.
tired of the band sounding like other bands, and there's so many of them out there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, you know what? It's almost I've kind of got it down now to projects that cover a lot of the bases for me because for the longest time I was trying to figure out I couldn't I had so many things I wanted to do that I couldn't focus enough at one point because I was like I want to do a doom metal band that was always on my list. I had a few songs recorded for that, like a Saint Vitus or Trouble kind of thing. I did do a death metal kind of thrash metal thing with the a while back. We put a record out, so I got that out of my blood to some degree. And then the surf kind of Americana punk thing that's Black Valley Moon. So this one covers a lot of bases. With that band, I do play some country stuff, some very jazz inspired stuff. So that one's all over the place. So yeah, I'm pretty musically satisfied right now for sure. Between Down by Law and Black Valley Moon, so much stuff.
Wow, man! Everything you just said, I can't wait to hear that. The metal
Oh,
thing. I was a metalhead actually when it was in high school. It was the
oh,
boom of punk rock in 1994, 1995, but I was into metal. I didn't really care. At
oh, cool.
the end
Yeah.
of the 90s, my friends were all punk rockers. So every party that I attempted, they're like selling me every band. Like, you have to listen Down by a Line. So I was aware of everything at the end, and I like it, but mainly I was buying metal and everything. But I did the switch, and I started up the radio show in 2000 when everybody started leaving and emo was the thing. I was like, oh, now that I like rock, everybody's leaving. It's cool. I'm gonna stick.
That's funny. Yeah, around here in Tampa, the death metal thing was huge. I mean, all the early death metal bands were from here. So, and the funny thing is, my friends and I were all into punk, but most of the death metal stuff when it started around here, it was way too crazy for normal metalheads. People that like Metallica or Guns N' Roses or something. Or Obituary or Morbid Angel did not go well with them. So most of the early death metal shows were punk people there, from around here. People that liked hardcore punk, DRI and stuff like that. They would be at these shows. So there was a time where I was only listening to punk and death metal, and that was it, for the longest time. So I finally did get to do a record, and then we toured a little bit too. Terry Butler, he's the bass player. He's in Obituary now. He used to be in Death, and then he was in 6 Feet Under. He's been in a ton of stuff. So me and him have done a few things together, but we put out a couple of records with a band called Denial Fiend. And the last one I was really happy with. It was the singer for The Accused, Terry on bass, and the drummer for DRI, Rob. And it was, man, I really love that record. That would be one of the ones I like a lot. And I feel like I can't do any better than that. So that was kind of like the end of the metal thing for me for a while. But one of these days I am going to do a doom metal thing. That would be kind of cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, I like everything too, you know. I mean, there are very few genres of music that I don't like, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember like when we were kids, you were listening to one style of music. And I always ate that because I was hiding that I was listening to everything.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I'm not ashamed. I did bought some Madonna cassette back in the days, and I was listening to them. I was listening to everything I can because I
Yeah.
always say to myself, the intelligent people are the one that don't close door. The best musician out there, the most interesting, are the one that listen to anything. So
Totally right. You're totally right. And it's, you know, back in our day, you really had to seek out these different kinds of music, you know. It was really hard to find music that wasn't on the radio, you know, at that point. And that was really only like three different kinds of music. So to come from our era of and from then back then being able to discover something like death metal or hardcore or punk, even that in itself was like a feat, you know. So there's something there for sure. And then now at our age, now everything is everywhere. You can find anything on your phone, you know, just in like the heartbeat. But you still have to have that desire to want to check out new things or new. You know, I started listening. I'm not like a huge jazz aficionado, but there are things that I listen to from it. And what I'm listening for mainly are different melodies. You know, once you start noticing patterns in these genres, like punk or something like that, or just rock in general, and you just start noticing the same melodies over and over again. You know, and you know something like jazz or metal too breaks free from that. You know, so I think you absorb these different melodies and it expands your mind or something. I don't know.
it worked because it create really good music. And the new album is another one that people gonna find really interesting. And if you didn't listen to it, you have to listen to the new Down by a Lot now. um Really important to encourage band right now. We talk about that. How's the best way to help you guys if we want to buy merch?
Merch. Okay, so let me think about that. There are a couple places that are selling merch for us. I think one's called Social Revolt. Another one, especially in Europe, is called the Epic Merch, I believe is their name. And
Yes.
they have a ton of Down by Law stuff, and they've been good about paying us right. And then also you can hit us up directly. My garage is I'm kind of like the keeper of all this stuff. So every once in a while I'll throw stuff up on Facebook. Um, to sell directly to the band. And I might get a little better about that and try to post some of it on our Bandcamp or Facebook or something. But I might try to do a shop because I have a ton of shirts and records and stuff. So if somebody just wants to hit me up on Facebook or message Down by Law through Facebook or Instagram and see what we have, they can do that too. And like I said, I have a lot of older stuff, you know, that you can't find everywhere. So there's that. Yeah, man.
Collectors, there's a lot out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
That's cool. And Sam, thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate that. You're a really smart human being, really talented. So again, it's
Thank,
always an honor to have time, talking to you and sharing those stories and talking about music.
thank you, man. I feel the same about you. I was like, as soon as you reminded me, because I'm bad with names, but as soon as you reminded me who you were, I was like, oh, that guy. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I remembered you for sure, and I was like, yeah, that's the cool thing about touring. You know, with all the nonsense and stuff. If we only put out records and we didn't tour, I wouldn't get to meet people like yourself and have those experiences and stuff. So that's really great. You know, there's people I know in Italy and Germany and Belgium that I never would have known, in South America that I talk to through Facebook all the time and stuff. So that's great, man. And thank you for supporting us, you know, and stuff like that. You know, that's really great. Appreciated.
I just press play. You guys sweat and creating, and then you lose money in the name of music, not me.
Appreciate
Man.
it so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. We're gonna do a huge special on Don Byla. We're gonna play songs from the new records, old, new, whatever. We're gonna mix it up. Make sure I send all the details. I will have, of course, the podcast available, but as you know, we're not a podcast show. We'll live in studio in CKRL 81.1. It's the first francophone station in North America, actually, outside government, which is Radio Canada, but it's the first one. So we're very lucky to have a microphone there. So make sure we're gonna do a hell of a huge special.
Yes, awesome. Very cool,
And
man.
when everything's done, you know, you have a special place in Quebec. Can't wait to see you back.
Thank you so much, man. Can't wait to get back there again, no doubt.
I have a feeling that there's gonna be so much festival offer for you guys in Quebec. It's gonna be a rush when we're gonna have that. Okay.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. That'd be great. I'd love to come back there as often as possible.
Hell
Awesome.
yeah, Sam, thank you. Say hi to Dave and everyone in the band. Congratulations again. The artwork is kick-ass. It's a great record, and be proud of that.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay safe.
You too, man. See ya.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
See ya, man.